Right, so think you are going to do information technology or computer science. Then, in some point, you are going to decide which field you are going to select as a specialization. When it comes to some countries in these degrees, they can select specialization, right? For example, we have option like cybersecurity, then after data science, artificial intelligence, then after we have graphic design, after that cloud computing, this kind of path. So which skill you need to study information technology, right? So before specialization you need some skill. For example, you need to have a knowledge about hardware, how hardware is work when you take an electronic device, for example computer, mobile phone. So how RAM is work, how processors work, this kind of thing. Then after, you should have knowledge about networking, how routers are working, how packet sharing between each and every routers, how switch is working, how the data communication is happening. You need to know about these things. For example, you can write, you need to know about the routers, then after switch, this kind of device. After that, you need to have knowledge about mobile phone and mobile application development, right? For example, how to develop Android application, how an Android application is working, how iPhone application, iTunes, that means iOS application is work, right? So for that you can use Swift. You need to know about these things, or React Native, to develop native mobile application. After that, security, right? So that means information security and cyber security, how you are going to secure your computer, how you are going to achieve CIA triad in your entire system, confidentiality, integrity and availability, this kind of thing. So after that, you need to know about mathematics, that means linear algebra, statistics, discrete mathematics, graph theory, this kind of thing you need to know to study information technology or computer science. And then after, you need to know about operating system. Most of you are familiar with the Windows operating system or Mac OS, but when it comes to field like security, that means cyber security, it is better to know about Linux operating system, right? So now you are going to select your specialization, right? So when you take this example, you can see in the 2009. So when you are going to watch a marathon or bicycle race, on that time you can see there will be a chopper and cameraman, or then after there will be a pilot and all these people, right? So there are many jobs around this entire thing. But when the introduction of these drones, all of these jobs disappeared, right? Then after, it will be a low cost and they can take highly efficient shot using this drone, right? So they can reach some places which this helicopter cannot reach, right? But when it comes to selecting your specialization, after 10 years, after 5 years, there will be no demand for that field. For example, if you take computer graphic, that means we'll take graphic design, right? So if you take graphic design, then now there is less number of intern or basic level jobs for these graphic designers, because these basic tasks now we can do using AI, right? We have so many AI application to do these basic tasks. Because of that, there's no demand for the entry level people in this field. So there are some senior people, there are some demand for the senior people, but there is no demand for the entry level people. So because of that, you have to decide which area you are going to select when you select specialization in your IT or computer science degree. So we'll discuss this whole thing with the specialization path. Right, so what are the path? When it comes to information technology, we have data science path. Then after, you can become data scientist or data analyzer. This kind of field are there, but you should have a mathematics knowledge to go into data science, right? You can go without mathematics, but you should be familiar with the mathematics. So you should have a passion to learn this thing. Then after, we have software engineering, right? So if you like to build an application or website, then this is the field for you, software engineering. And also this field also, now you can see there is less demand for the, when it comes to entry level job in software engineering. Now it is very difficult to find internship for entry level job. So then after, we have cybersecurity again. this is another difficult area to find a job. And also there is a risk when you do cybersecurity, because when it comes to other countries, they are asking thus people should have citizenship in that country, because they are handling that sensitive part of their country. So because of that, when it comes to USA, they should have a citizenship in the USA, right? Otherwise they can't work in this kind of field. So after that we have cloud computing. Again, now we have a huge demand for this field also. You can see there's Amazon cloud, Google cloud, these kind of data centers are going to handle by people specialization in this field and this field. Then after IT project management, this is another field. After that we have networking. So then after we have artificial intelligence. So there are so many paths, right? For example, we have cloud computing. Then after we can have graphic design. Then after game development, there are so many jobs. But you need to decide which one you are going to select for your future, because now think your age is around between 20 and 30. So decision you are taking here will affect your entire future. That means from 30 to or 25 to 55 or until you die, it will affect this decision, right? Because if you select network administrator, then it is difficult to find a job in other field. For example, you are going to specialize in network administrator, then after it will be difficult to find job in the software engineering or data science or cybersecurity, right? So because of that, you should have a clear goal which path you are going to select. So should I specialize? So go with the common path. When it comes to most degree program, they have common path, that mean IT or computer science. Otherwise they can go with that specific field. For example, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, cloud computing, this kind of field. Otherwise they have a common path, right? This common path will open door for all other field when it comes to their final year. Okay, so we'll talk about this later, right? Because after finishing the remaining part, I'm going to explain this section. So whether you are going to specialize, so whether you are going to move in with the common option. Okay, first path, I'm going to explain about the software engineering path. When it comes to software engineering, we have three paths, right? Mainly we have three career path, that means front-end developer, back-end developer, and full-stack developer. So basically, when it comes to software engineering, you should have a person to develop the application, website, mobile application, or otherwise that after enterprise level system, you can develop this kind of thing. For that, we are using this programming language. No need to master all this language, but it is better to master few language based on the your work environment, right? If you are going to become a application developer, that means Android application developer, then you should know Java, Kotlin, this kind of thing. If you're going to build a web application, then you should know about JavaScript, then after Java, Python, PHP, this kind of thing, or else you can move into the framework. And you need to follow this software development life cycle when you build application. And also there will be different kind of model. For example, we have rapid application development model, then after waterfall development model, this kind of models are there. You need to follow these things when it comes to industry level project. Okay, so one path is front-end developer. When it comes to front-end developer, so if you love creating website or application or any other project, you should consider front-end development, right? But if you love to do back-end part, then you can become a back-end developer, right? So for the front-end developer, for example, if you take a website, that means front-end developer mean front-end part mean things we can see on our screen, right? So that include this kind of text, then after diagram, then after animation, button, all of these things. So as a front-end developer, you can build this thing. So tasks done by the front-end developer, you can identify user interface and experience design, production and maintenance, responsive design, real-time programming, software workflow. Okay, so what are the duties? Design and implement the visual element that users see and interact with in web application. So here I am taking web application example, but you can take mobile application or any other application, right? So visual part designing is, and designing mean by using a programming language, we are going to design that one. So as a front-end developer. Then have to coordinate with back-end developer to integrate server-side application with the front-end. So back-end developers will build the back-end part. So we can't see this part. And as a front-end developer, we are going to build this nice interface, right? And we are going to map this each into section in the backend. So ensure the website to web application function correctly across various browsers and devices. What is the meaning of this one? If you take mobile phone, it should show the same table, and it should show same table in the laptop also. There will be a difference in height and width, but it should show this information, however, based on the screen size. No need to overflow or hide some content. So as a front-end developer, you can use this framework, React, AngularJS, Express.js, Laravel, this kind of framework, right? So these are the framework. We have language, but by using language, we have developed framework to make that task easier. So for example, front-end developer is like this. You can see this is the thing we can do, but this is actually happening here. So when it comes to back-end developer, they do the backend part. That means database connection and also user request handling, this kind of thing. When you combine these two, what we are calling a full stack developer. So if you love working with and building things that depend on you, you should be a backend developer. So for that, you should have knowledge of stack, how stack work, how queues work, then after trees and graphs, sorting, then after searching, and many things. You should have knowledge about this thing when it comes to backend development. So responsible for integrating with the front end. As a backend developer, you are responsible, right, for integration with the front end part. Then also one of your duties manage and optimize database. You are going to use database, for example, SQL or PostgreSQL or MongoDB. Then after, you have to manage this database, and also you can optimize this database based on the requirement. So develop and maintain API, application program interface. Works on optimizing the application for speed and efficiency. So as a backend developer, you need to maintain the performance, right? You can increase the performance based on the algorithm you are going to use, based on the function you are going to use. It will increase the performance. So as a framework, you can use this kind of framework, Django, Laravel, Express, then after Cake PHP, CodeIgniter, this kind of framework are there. Okay, so as I told, we have another one when it comes to software engineering, full stack developer. This is another career path, right? So when it comes to salary, full stack developers are getting higher salary than the front end and back end developer, because they know everything when it comes to designing a website to application. They can independently design and develop entire application without any issue, right? So works on both the front end and back end of the application. When it comes to full stack development, they should know about all these things: front end development, back end development, database, and DevOps, mobile application development, all these things. To become full stack developer, no need to know all these things, but you should know a front end framework for your web application, back end framework for your web application, and database. If you know these three things, then it is fine. No need to know all the front end framework, right? Okay, so what are the tasks? Integrate front-end element with backend through RESTful API or GraphQL. You can use RESTful architecture or GraphQL to integrate front-end and backend. collaborate with various systems like user experience and user interface designers and project managers. As a full stack developer, you are going to directly collaborate with these people, right? So they will design user interface and they will give prototype. Then after you can design this thing, and also you can communicate with project managers, and you can change and update your requirement while project is going on. So after that, perform testing and debugging across all layers of the application. You are responsible for do the testing and debugging at some point, right? You can do this thing also as a full stack developer. So it is like entire burger. So you have these front end technologies, then after you have database, and also you are going to use these DevOps technologies and this kind of thing. Right. So nowadays we have huge demand for this field. This field is known as what? Data science. So as a data scientist, what you are going to do? For example, if you take a food city on, you can analyze this customer buying record, right? Then after you can take a decision. For example, think you are going to analyze 1 month data. On that time, you can see whenever customer buy a biscuit, whenever customer buy a biscuit, on that time, most of them are going to buy a soft drink also. Soft drink. So based on the data set you have, you can analyze this one. Most of customer who bought biscuit are buying soft drink also. Then what you can do based on this result? You can put biscuit and soft drinks are at the same place, right? It will increase the your company sales, right? Okay, so when it comes to data science, consider data science if you love calculating mathematics or statistics. So if you love statistics or mathematics, then this is the field for you. So there are less programming language when it comes to data science, but there will be a more mathematics part. For example, you should know R, Python when it comes to data science. You can learn this language because these are high level language. It is easier to learn. So it is a combination of mathematics, domain expertise, computer science, this kind of field, right? So data analysis involves examining, transforming, and arranging a given data set in specific ways to study its part and extract useful information. For example, when it comes to data science, you are going to classify tea trees, tea leaves based on their quality. For that, you can have 1000 image of labeled tea leaves. That means whether they are in the good condition or bad condition, you have 1000 image. Based on this 1000 image, you can train a model. After that, using that model, you can identify, you can extract information which leaves are good or bad when you input new data. So this kind of thing you can do when it comes to data science. It deals with interpreting, analyzing, and visualizing data. Finally, you can visualize this data, and companies can take their business decision based on this data. So nowadays, most companies are doing this thing, right? That means they are going to visualize and analyze their market output, and also they are going to predict which will have demand in upcoming years. Based on that demand, they are going to build their product. Then we have data analyst, right? So this is one career path when it comes to data science, data analyst, and data scientist. So when it comes to data analyst, they will answer question like what happened, what was happened, and they can answer why did it happen. When it comes to data analyst, right? But when it comes to data scientists, they will ask what will happen, they are going to predict. So basically, to become a data scientist, you need to become a data analyst. You should have a knowledge of data analyst, right? First, you need to analyze data. Then after you can build a model, and after that you can become data scientist. So for the data analyst, you need a basic mathematics, that means stat knowledge. But to become a data scientist, you should have a strong stat knowledge and mathematics knowledge. So basically collect, extract and interpret data from various systems, identify trend. They are going to identify trends and patterns and relationship in large data set. So they can visualize data, then after they can identify these things. Collaborate with stakeholders across department to identify solution and opportunities. Ensure the accuracy and consistency of data. So what are the skills they need to become a data analyst? You should have a critical thinking, communication. These are the common thing, and you should know a technique like R or Python, then automate like this kind of thing, or machine learning, linear algebra, this kind of thing you should have to become a data analyst. So now we have data scientist, right? To become a data scientist, you can't become by knowing HTML. You should know at least Python or R programming language to work as a data scientist, because these are the language we are going to use in the field of data science. So what is the question when it comes to data scientists? What will happen? What will happen? So we are going to predict what is going to happen, what will happen in future. So how can we optimize? How can we optimize? Right? This kind of question we can answer as a data scientist. So data scientists are working with the advanced algorithm, and also they are working with the machine learning and predictive analyst. When it comes to this job field, applies state of art machine learning algorithm and statistical technique. Develop models to predict future trends. They will predict the future trends, not the trends happening now, or patterns based on existing data. Now we have some data, based on that one we are going to predict what will happen in future. Cleanse and pre-process data for analysis. Communication, data insight, methodologies and solution recommendation to the stakeholders. With the stakeholders, they are going to communicate their finding. So we are using this in the field of insurance, retail, all of these field. Nowadays we are using data in all of these field. Based on the data analysis, we are going to take decision in this field. So you can see this is a data center, right? So this is data center. When you take Google Drive or OneDrive, all of these data are going to store in a place like this, not a cloud, right? When you call cloud storage, it is a place like this. So these places are bigger than cricket ground or football ground. And for example, if you take Google, they have several data centers around the world. When you request something in YouTube, they will search a data center. They will take that information from the nearest data center. They will have duplicate in several continents of the same data, but they are going to find it from the nearest data center, and it will send to your computer with the minimum time. So as a data scientist, maybe you will work at a place like this, but the inside of this place is like this. We have for example, this could be graphic card or hard drive or any other networking device, right? Maybe you will work as a person like this or like this in front of your company computer or inside the data center as a data scientist. So this field also have a huge demand nowadays, and future also there will be a demand for the data science. Then I think you can identify what is our next career path, right? So it is security, right? That means information security or cyber security. So if you are passionate about security, consider a specialization in cybersecurity. You should have a passion, right? Because you can learn the theoretical concept, but when it comes to actually identifying the vulnerabilities and this kind of thing, you should have a fashion to use this theoretical knowledge based on the situation, right? So it is better to select this field if you really have a passion to learn this thing, because it's not like watching a movie. You have to learn Linux and this kind of thing, but this is one of the interesting field. So cybersecurity involves everything from encryption to finding and protecting against malware or virus to hacking to find security vulnerabilities in a system so they can be fixed. Encryption means we are going to hide. That means we are going to convert our information into something unwanted people cannot find. Only the authorized people can find encrypted information, right? So nowadays we are using public key cryptography, public key cryptography. So we are going to encrypt this one using a private key, and then after we are going to share this with the public key, or else we are going to encrypt this using the public key, then after that can be decrypted using the private key of that particular receiver. So can we actually hack? Yes, right? But there is it's not easy as you saw in the movies. Otherwise, no, why the companies like Facebook and other companies are paying huge amount to their employees, that means cybersecurity specialists. So they have make their system hack prone, but there are some loops, some holes in their system, right? By using that holes, we can sometimes gain access based on the user's fault. For example, as a user, you are going to click a link which is not actually facebook.com. It will be something else, but user interface and other thing will be same. On that time, you are going to put your username and password. It will be a phishing attack, right? They can take your account and other information. So when it comes to cybersecurity, we have these fields: IoT security, end user education, application security, information security, network security, operational security, internet security, and ICT security. We have so many fields. So you can see the spending for the cybersecurity. And so testing, these are the tasks: testing, analyzing, and implementing security system for development, managing system vulnerabilities, responding to security threat and attack, developing threat prevention strategies when it comes to cybersecurity. So what are the career path? We have so many career path, but I'm going to select few. So we have red team or offensive cybersecurity. They will identify system, network, and application vulnerabilities, provide detailed report and analysis of security breach and recommend improvements, conduct simulate cyber attack on an organization infrastructure to assess its security. For example, when you take a bank, so they are time to time asking to penetrate their system, check for the vulnerabilities, but they have to sign agreement. Then not they can hack. That means banking system, if there is any vulnerability, they are going to report that into the bank only, right? So we are calling this team a red team. Then after we have blue team, defensive cybersecurity, constantly monitor network and system activities. So regularly access the organization digital infrastructure. That means people working at the company to secure their company digital resource. Develop and enforce security policies and procedures. So there are another job also, actually not a career path. For example, you can be a black hat hacker. Then maybe you will become a criminal also based on the things you are going to do. Okay, now the most important thing. Nowadays we have AI, right? Because of AI, we have lost so many jobs, and it will create another so many jobs because of the AI. But nowadays we can't depend on the job with the traditional education. We should know the how this AI works, how we are going to use this AI technique with our work environment. Okay, so we'll move into the artificial intelligence career path. We have deep learning, then not we have machine learning. That means we are going to develop a model. Then not we have artificial intelligence. That means we are going to think like a human, do like a human, work like a human when it comes to artificial intelligence, right? But still we haven't came to this point, because so we have some specific field but not as an entire human, right? And definitely this will pass the human also in the future. This will pass the human, not, it is not going to work as a human, it will pass the human capabilities also. So nowadays we have LLM, that means large language model. For example, we have ChatGPT, this kind of large language model. It will generate content based on our given input, right? Many industries have transformed thanks to artificial intelligence and machine learning. Most of companies, so they have reduced their number of employees with the use of AI, and they have now most of companies are getting profit because of AI, because they can predict the future with the AI and machine learning. So which things will have demand, which things will not gonna have demand in the coming years, they can predict these things. AI and machine learning are extremely impactful field, increasingly used in various industries including healthcare, finance, and many other industries. So we have a career path, AI developer, right? As AI developer, what you are going to do? When it come to studying, that means as undergraduate, most of you are going to use OpenAI or ChatGPT or Google Gemini, right? When it comes to using this thing, don't use this for just getting the answer. For example, you are going to get a coding question, right? In the earlier days, when we got the coding question, on that time we are going to apply, for example, if condition. If it is not to work, we are going to apply switch case. Like that, we experiment with the question. But nowadays, you are just putting your question into the chat GPT, then not you are getting the answer. That is 100% correct. Then not you are submitting that answer. But when it comes to real world, you don't know how to do this one without the help of ChatGPT, right? So because of that, you can get the help from the ChatGPT. For example, you can ask from the ChatGPT, what is for loop, how this program is working, so explain this code. You can ask these things, then after you can learn. But don't try to depend on the ChatGPT. Then your thinking capability will be lost. Your thinking ability will be definitely lost, right? Your creative thinking will be lost if you are going to depend on this kind of model. For example, you can use Cortana, Gemini, or ChatGPT. We have so many applications, right? So many AI applications. So as a AI developer, you will build machine learning model and neural network architecture for AI application. Neural network means how human thinking is happening, right? When it comes to human brain, it will be something like this. So we have neurons, it will be mapped into one, then another mapping. So it is like this, right? And finally it will build output. So same thing we are going to apply when it comes to artificial intelligence. We are going to use neural network. Perform model training, evaluation, optimization, and deployment as AI developer. Gives advice on legal and moral issues that arise with AI. After that, we have another career which is known as machine learning engineer. So as a machine learning engineer, what is the task? Design, build, and train machine learning model. This is one task. Prepare and process large data set for training and testing. Monitor model in production and retrain where necessary. So when it comes to AI, this field also will have definitely higher demand in coming years. AI and machine learning, data science, these two fields will definitely have higher demand For example, software engineering also have demand, but not like this, because nowadays we can generate mobile application also by using AI. We can create website without typing any code. We have site for that one, right? And also in the COVID time, most of people build their web application, other things. Now they are doing what? They are going to maintain this one. For that, they are just hiring the senior people only. They are taking their tasks into senior people only, right? Because of that, there is a less number of entry level jobs when it comes to software engineering also. Still, maybe there is less number of jobs in AI and machine learning, but in future there will be a huge demand for this field. So with that, we can move into the final outcome, right? So as I told, I'm going to answer this question again. Should I specialize or go with the common path? What is your ultimate goal in your career? Have you decided it or not? So who you want to become? Why are you doing this degree? You should have answer for this one, right? If you have answer for this one, what is your ultimate goal? For example, become artificial intelligence specialist, AI specialist. Then you can do AI, and you need to study well, because there on that time maybe there will be a higher demand for the AI, maybe there will be a low demand for the AI. You have to predict this one. You have to do some research. Then after you can do your specialization. Otherwise, it is better to move with the common path. So why I am saying move with the common path? If you don't know what you are going to do in your future, if it is not sure, you are going to depend on this thing, that means AI or data science or cybersecurity in your upcoming years, that means after graduation. So it is better to move with the IT or computer science, because there will be so many paths when it comes to IT or computer science. For example, if you did IT for the undergraduate, then you can move into software engineering or cybersecurity or data science or any other field with your qualification. But when it comes to data science, it is difficult to move into the cybersecurity by specialization in the data science. It is difficult to move into the software engineering if you do data science for your undergraduate degree. So based on this thing, you have to decide which one you are going to do. So first you need to consider your interest, which field you are going to interest. So if you have passion to become a cybersecurity expert, then you can do that one. If you have passion to become a data scientist, then you can do that one. So if you are a good programmer, you can design and develop a mobile application very well, then you can move into the software engineering. If you are not sure, then stay with the information technology or computer science. And for the undergraduate, so it is better to stay with the common path rather than specialization. Common one is better when it comes to undergraduate level. Then what are your strengths? That means your programming capability, your mathematics, this kind of thing you have to consider when you select your path. And faculty expertise. Do some research. Do some research about your university faculty department. So how many lectures are there? What are their qualifications? Are they capable to teach their subject? You need to search this kind of thing. If they are coming and just going to tell what is in your PowerPoint presentation and your course content, that means handbook or any other thing, reference book or this kind of thing, then it is not enough, because you are going to specialize, right? That means you should be able to get answer for your question from these people, right? So you have to do some research in this field also. Then are the future proof skills. So which things you are going to learn from this one will be valid in your future. You have to decide this one also. And you can do some research on the course content. All of these things are updated and also outdated. You can check this one. After that, your career goals, who you want to become. You have to consider this one also. If you want to become a doctor, then you should do the biology for your A-level, right? Otherwise, you can't become a doctor. Job market demand. As I told, if you are going to do a software engineering, then you have to think about the job market demand. If you are going to do cybersecurity, then you have to think your job market demand. Not this year, you have to predict in the upcoming 2-3 years. After 2-3 years, what will happen into this job market. And you can check whether is there any research or project included in this degree. It is better to have research or project in your degree or an internship. Global and local relevance, whether they have recognition for this degree or program in the global and local level. Otherwise you will just have a paper in your hand, right? You have to check this one also. Okay, so if you have any question, you can comment down.